Today, we celebrate the successful culmination of your doctoral research and education experience at Georgia Tech. I want to take this opportunity to warmly congratulate each of you for your dedication, perseverance, and tremendous effort in this accomplishment. I've walked the pathways, classrooms, and research labs at Georgia Tech for over 36 years, and it would be easy to focus on obvious improvements in terms of infrastructure or on Tech's steady rise in the rankings as an internationally acclaimed university, or the continuous improvement of the quality of the student body. But I'd rather tell you a few things that I've learned about human development processes and what makes people tick when they pursue high aspirations. Mainly, I've learned these things from working with students like you. First, perhaps the most significant and mysterious things I've learned concerns the nature of human potential. As remarkable and unlikely as it might seem in a world with a population of 7.7 billion, each of us has the potential to be world-class at something. It might be research, empathy, oration, service, listening, athletics, debate, representation, leadership, mentoring, philanthropy, advocacy, any number of things. Some of us see it earlier than others, some don't see it yet, some don't believe it, and some squander it. My advice to you is to embrace this concept and to discover your something. It might not even relate to the topic of research for which you've earned your advanced degree this morning. I've learned to simultaneously trust and marvel at this concept. My second observation is simply that life is unpredictable. I'm sure you have some inkling of this already, having been a student at Georgia Tech. We can't have certainty in life. We can only form a vision and seek to orient ourselves in that general direction. Just as a championship golfer shapes the shot in his or her mind's eye, lines up properly, and pays close attention to stance and grip, we need to align with a vision for our future, even if this vision is only partially formed. What does a successful life, a life well lived, look to a person on their graduation day? Don't worry if it isn't very clear. Remember the previous point, life is unpredictable. I recall in my first day in graduate school, one of my office mates introduced himself and asked me what I wanted to be. Being rather green and unsophisticated, I told him the truth. I wasn't sure or even aware of the possibilities. Having confidently informed me that he was going to become an expert in continuum mechanics, I was humbled and impressed at the clarity of his definition and resolve, because I knew nothing of this field. A few short years later, he dropped out, and it happens that I've been working in this area for some 40 years. Who would have guessed? Third, we should not be discouraged by slow progress in the journey to pursue our goals and dreams. Progress is never linear. It does not follow the clock or the calendar. Learning isn't that way. Research and innovation aren't that way. Life isn't that way. Each person has his or her own calendar. At Georgia Tech, you've learned the value of managing your time and setting priorities on a day-to-day basis. This has been essential to navigating here, and of course it will serve you well. But now is the time to consider the difference between executing tasks in an academic and research environment and charting your own future trajectory. Take time to dream and give this some thought. Spend some time in reflection. Talk to others you trust and admire. Fourth, maybe you haven't given this much thought, but you are very well prepared to innovate. There are many avenues to innovation. On occasion, innovation can arise from a single spark of insight. For the most part, though, that is a romantic notion. Innovation is much more mundane. It happens mainly when initiative joins up with opportunity, which has built on preparation. This preparation involves mind and spirit and seasoning your subconscious with possibilities that are bound by the laws of physics, circumscribed by the way the world works. This is where preparation comes in. Having command of the tools while having the knack for how and when to apply them to pursue new and meaningful directions. I'm sure many of you already have an experience along these lines. Consider, for example, a theater production or live music performance. Just 1 to 2 weeks out from opening night, scripts or songs are yet to be fully mastered or even decided for that matter. Innovation is the same. This stems from a more fundamental truth. In fact, it was my third point. Human development and performance do not follow a linear path in time. Any parent knows this by observing child development. Any professor knows this by guiding students. We learn how the human development process works because the growth that occurs from baccalaureate to PhD is immense. Your faculty advisors have had the chance to witness perhaps the greatest extent of growth in you compared to any of your former teachers and mentors. Particularly, this is evident for someone like me who has spent their entire career working with students in research and education. So you might be wondering what your next step is. How can you make your mark? You might wonder if you're well prepared and what your future will hold. As a young faculty member here at Georgia Tech, I used to lie in bed at night staring at the ceiling, wondering how I would achieve all the bold research statements spelled out in my proposals. It bothered me when the research project would be ostensibly halfway finished, and yet we still had no impressive results. In some cases, the ideas hadn't quite crystallized yet. But what I've learned working aside students like you is not to worry. Remarkably, it's the nature of human development and collaboration that things come together just in time, as necessary, and not before. I would advise you to trust yourselves. Continue to prepare for what the future holds. Fifth and finally, how can you make a difference? And I mean starting right now, not 20 years from now. I would like to give each of you a challenge. We are most effective as role models after making a difference, not by just aspiring to make a difference. Go out and make things happen. Then inspire others by giving your time and energy to your family in service and education of others and to worthy organizations and causes. Certainly, the fact that you were admitted to Georgia Tech and have been successful in earning our highest degree is an accomplishment that alone can inspire many, but even more so if you've added something to that story. Great leaders inspire by example, not just by words or diplomas. As I close my address today, I would encourage you to give serious thought to advancing technology in a way that has a positive impact on humanity. People are drawn to role models and leaders who combine purpose, accomplishment, with a deep sense of integrity. We will need such leaders in dealing with our most difficult 21st century challenges. You have each demonstrated your mettle this morning in this regard by earning your doctorates. Again, I give each of you and your families my heartfelt congratulations on this huge accomplishment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.